Donald Trump dominating right now. This is the picture being painted from new polling out this morning.
I mean, look, I see Donald Trump a dominant front runner. You know, he's at over 50% of the vote. Look, 45% plus in Iowa during the December Florida caucuses. He's one of only 5 to ever reach that point. But there's another reason to believe that Trump's lead is solid. Mind made up. Look at this. 70% of Trump backers say their mind is made up. Compare that to just 34% of Haley backers in Iowa and just 30% of DeSantis backers in Iowa. And when you put it all together, Kate, what you see is a candidate polling much higher than pretty much anyone ever has in Iowa, and a candidate whose backers say they are very much behind him. I think that this is a big problem for Joe Biden in the center of the electorate. This is independents who back Biden over Trump. In Georgia and Michigan in 2020, the majority of independents backed Biden over Trump. Look at 2023, just 35% of independents backing him in Georgia, just 30% in the state of Michigan. You can't win with those types of numbers if you're Joe Biden.
The issue of electability is a major calling card, particularly for Nikki Haley. Now, in this poll, the question of do you believe Trump can win against Biden? The idea of electability for Donald Trump, it's getting better for him. In October, just 65% said that they felt that Donald Trump could beat Joe Biden. Now it's 73%. So maybe that argument that Trump can't beat Biden, voters don't see it like that anymore.
All right, brand new this morning, Donald Trump makes polling history. In the new Des Moines Register poll of Republican caucus goers, Donald Trump now holds a 32-point lead at 51%, the biggest lead ever at this point.
Enthusiasm gap that the Biden team needs to confront. But as you point out, that fact that, you know, these court cases, they go forward, that could be a major 2x4 across Donald Trump.
Also, John, in that CNN poll, which I thought was very interesting, the most interesting thing was of the folks who didn't vote for either Biden or Trump in 20, like overwhelming majority of those, not an overwhelming amount, I think like 40% said they'd vote for Trump. So it was a pretty staggering.
These new CNN polls, tough numbers for President Biden, David.
In our Georgia results, you see Trump ahead of Biden there, 49% to 44%. The lead is even wider for Trump in Michigan, where Biden's victory in 2020 was actually wider than it was in Georgia. 50% for Trump, 40% for Biden. A clear warning sign to Joe Biden that he and his team have a lot of work to do over these next 11 months. And this is about sharpness and stamina. Is the sharpness and stamina of Joe Biden exactly what you're looking for? Or the sharpness and stamina of Donald Trump exactly what you're looking for in a presidential candidate? Look at that, John. 27% of those voters under 45 in Georgia say, yes, that's exactly what they're looking for in Biden. 54%, a majority of them say Trump does have the sharpness and stamina they're looking for. And you see a near identical result in Michigan.
Those are huge numbers right there. That is a big margin between Trump and Biden.
And it shows you
right
what
there.
a challenge. This is a problem that doesn't go away with time, obviously, right? Age. And so this shows the challenge over the next 11 months that this is going to be something that Biden has to constantly address, reassure, convince folks of that he does indeed have the stamina to serve out another term.
New warning signs for the White House. New CNN polls out today show President Biden trailing Donald Trump in critical battleground states, places Biden won in the last election and needs to win again.
The overview of Biden versus Trump, if that is a rematch that we're headed for, and it certainly looks like it is, in these two critical battleground states, Georgia and Michigan, in our new poll conducted by SSRS, Donald Trump has a lead in both. He's currently winning both states. Now, as you noted, Joe Biden won them in 2020. They were 2 of 5 states he flipped from red to blue, and that is how he got to the White House. 49% to 44% in Georgia, Trump advantage there. An even larger advantage in Michigan, 50% for Trump, 40% for Biden. And I just want to show you in Michigan specifically, Dana, look what happens when you add in these independent third-party kind of candidates. Trump's number goes down too, but Biden's number goes down real low. So 39% for Trump, 31% for Biden. RFK Jr. pulling 20% in Michigan. Cornel West getting 6% right now. That, in addition to Donald Trump having some strength, clearly, this is another threat coming at Joe Biden from another direction.
Yeah, I mean, just look at those two numbers. There's only an 11 percentage point difference between Joe Biden and RFK right now in the important
We'll see if
state
they
of
can
Michigan.
maintain the
Yeah, I
support.
mean, that's right
Yes,
now, a
yeah.
snapshot as our all polls. Good point.
And that's what we asked. We said, which candidate here exactly has the attributes that you want in a president? Now, nobody has exactly everything, but take a look here. On temperament in Georgia, 20% of people say Biden has exactly the temperament they're looking for. Not too different from what Donald Trump has. 18% on temperament, which was one of Trump's weakest attributes tested. Everything else, you see that Trump outperforms Biden. Understanding people like you, Trump better. Policy positions, 13%. And only 7% of Georgia voters say that President Biden has the sharpness and stamina exactly as they are looking for in a president. 31% of Georgia voters say that about Donald Trump. This, I think, is one of the biggest warning signs in the poll for Joe Biden, because in both Georgia and Michigan, Dana, a majority of voters, 54% in Georgia, 56% in Michigan, say Biden's policies have worsened economic conditions for them. Okay? Only a quarter in each state say that economic conditions have improved under Joe Biden. This is the perception we see day in, day out, the White House trying to change. It just isn't yet working.
And it goes through the issues that are the most important. And you see there, you just look at the blue and the red. The economy, red, that's Trump. Inflation, red, Trump. Crime, red, Trump. Border security, Israel, Hamas. The things that are different and that flip to Democrats are abortion and tone in politics.
And new CNN polling from two key battleground states spelling trouble for President Biden. The polling also found just 39% of voters in Georgia approve of Biden's job performance. That number dwindles down to 35% among registered voters in Michigan. Majorities, meantime, in both states say that his policies have actually worsened economic conditions in the country.
People don't realize this is kind of like a third world country.
There's need for clothes, food, housing. There's many homeless in this area.
I know it's a sensitive subject, but do you guys have any thoughts about the upcoming presidential election?
We hope Trump gets back in there. Maybe he can straighten it out.
And why do you think he'd straighten it out?
Because it wasn't in this turmoil when he left. All this has managed to happen in the last 3 years, so.
I think we are going downhill.
Economy. You know, economy is horrible. We're ready for Trump to get, can I say that? Totally. We're ready for Trump to get back in. Can't wait. We're counting on it. I think he cares. May be wrong, but I think he does. And not to say he's going to be perfect. We know that, you know, a lot of things he does, but for the most part, when he was in office, even with everything going on, he accomplished a lot.
And do you think that Biden doesn't care about people down here?
I don't think that he has a clue.
You've probably seen a lot running a convenience store.
Oh, yeah. They got problems with the drugs, the meth, and the fentanyl. That's here, it's prevalent, and the law still hadn't been able to deal with it. I blame Biden for that, too.
Who do you think you'd vote for in the 2024 presidential election?
Trump.
Is Biden potentially, as some of his critics are suggesting, endangering democracy by running for re-election?
Well, wait a minute. I think let's take a step back and look at these numbers. Are there elements of them that are troubling for the White House and the Biden campaign? Absolutely.
I'm not very surprised, actually, because pursuant to what Kate just said, you know, needing to make it a choice between people remembering what the Trump presidency was like and now what the Biden presidency is like, the National Wall Street Journal survey that came out this weekend asked almost that very question. And they asked which president's policies helped you and hurt you. Donald Trump, by a margin of 49 to 37, more people said his policies helped. Joe Biden, a margin of 23 to 53, more people said his policies have hurt. That's the problem for Biden here. He's not running against something abstract on the economy. He's running against a recent memory. And the recent memory of Trump is the economy was pretty good. And the current conditions of Biden are people don't believe the economy is good and they don't think he's done anything to stop inflation. In fact, they think he is the one that caused it. So am I surprised to see somebody like Donald Trump winning right now? No, I do think other issues will come into play. I'm not terribly interested in head-to-heads at this moment. But the underlying fundamentals here, I think the American people believe Biden's presidency has failed on economic policy and Trump's was a success. Yep.